All right, so this is being recorded way later than I had originally planned. Um, I have just been overwhelmed with work. So anyway, not to waste any more of your time, but yeah, I did plan on reviewing these originally much earlier. Um, but with that being said, it's finally time for me to finish the Layton clone comparisons. And to decide on a winner. So, if you watched my other video, I had reviewed several Layton clones, including from the house of Dapper fragrances, from the house of Genre Parfums, from the house of Squirtz, from the house of Royal, or from Alexandria fragrances. Um, and the only one that I had not been able to try yet, at least that I felt that's worth mentioning, was Dua Fragrances version. They had been out of stock for some period of time, really ever since I had found out about Dua. I had not been able to get my hands on it. More recently, they had a very limited run, sold out right away. Didn't get a hold of it then either. But then that following sale, they restocked and had much more. So I was able to pick it up finally. Now, just to recap, I don't want to go into full review. That's what the other video was for. But I will briefly touch on each of the other versions. So at the bottom of my list on the other video was from the House of Squirts. It does smell like Layton. It's a pretty decent clone. It doesn't have the methylated opening, and it's much softer than Layton. But mainly, what's the worst about it, in my opinion, what makes it the worst clone, isn't necessarily its inability to really clone the scent itself, which it quite frankly does the poorest job of. But performance and projection are terrible on it. Performance is maybe 3 hours. Projection maybe an hour. If you got a quick errand to run, you just want need it for that, works for it. But other than that, I do not recommend it. It's the cheapest of the bunch. I think it runs, I want to say $15.99 for a 30 mil. By far the cheapest, and it does smell like Layton. It's just the worst. So anyway, second on the list, I kind of tied Genre Parfums Refuge and Dapper's inspired by version of PDM. And they're not the same, but they are both good. In short, Dapper's is a much softer version of Layton. Doesn't really have the methylated opening either. All the notes are kind of just toned down. It smells great. Performance projection is pretty good as well. It just seems less just less strong all around. It's kind of more just softer scent. It does smell like Layton though. Whereas Genres does have the methylated opening. It's a little softer than Layton itself. Performance and projection are both good. But the dry down is more of kind of that like woodsy note. The vanilla kind of fades. Vanilla, lavender kind of go away. Apple disappears as well. Whereas in some of the other clones, you still smell that in the dry down. The dry down on Refuge to me resembled mainly just the woods notes, which kind of to me was disappointing. But overall, it's great. Both Dapper and Refuge, which is by Genre Parfums, are great for the money. Genre's 25, Dapper's 30 for 30 mil. Both are great. That being said, the best of all the ones that I had compared last time was Alexandria Fragrances Royal Equestrian. It has the methylated opening. It is by far the closest of any of those, to the real deal. It projects and performs better than the real thing. Projection performance are phenomenal on it. If you do not like the methylated opening, though, that's obviously a downside. The other downside is it's most expensive. All those, it's $42.99 for 30 mil, and most of the time you got to pay shipping as well. So by far the most expensive as well. It's almost double, Genre's offering. And is it twice as good? I don't know. I mean, I have several bottles of it, but Layton is also one of my top 2 favorite fragrances of all time. So, if it wasn't, would I buy the Alexandria's version? Probably not. I'd probably stick with Genres because it's close enough, or maybe even Dappers. Um, but it is. So I want the higher quality, the better stuff. And quite frankly, I like Alexandria's better than the real thing because it performs better. So for me, there's an argument to be had that per milliliter, yeah, you're paying about the same. I get it. Sometimes more for some of these clone houses. But, you know, performance projection are better. So I'm all for it. Anyway, now comes the last. The last competitor in this challenge, and that is from the House of Dua. It is their Royal Chariot Attar. So it's got your standard Dua label. Some people find them really cheesy. Some people love them. A lot of people like to line them up, whatever, make some kind of like image or display. Come in these very cheap decant bottles, like quite frankly most clone houses, but Duas are about as generic as they get. The labels are again either cheesy or gaudy, depending on how you take it. Some people like them though. Sprayers, atomizers are great. The juice is great. Performance projection are great. All the Duos I've had, there's been some I don't like, but they are all high quality. Even if they don't, my preference isn't whatever I got. There's no denying that the quality is there. That said, so how does this stack up? Well, price of this, I believe, is $60 for a 30 mil. Now, with that said, they always have sales, 15% pretty much all the time on the website, and then they frequently have 25% off and 30% off sales, which means this will run you about the same as the Alexandria fragrances, both are 30 mils. Dua does provide free shipping though, so there's that. It's really, they're pretty similar cost-wise, obviously. So, now what really matters? The scent. Now this smells the most similar to Royal Equestrian by Alexandria Fragrances. They are very similar. I will note that this is, the methylated part is slightly less methylated than Royal Equestrian, but it smells fantastic. The lavender and the vanilla, the apple note, it smells so good. Now, so I would put at the top Royal Equestrian and Dua. If I had to choose, though, between the two, it would be this. And honestly, I was surprised because I love Alexandria fragrances and I love Royal Equestrian. I think the main thing that really does it for me is this is an Attar. Concentration's an Attar. So what that means is it's even stronger than the extraits. Now, what that also means, and here's kind of the downside of it, if you can see, it's kind of hard to see, it just looks normal now, but the liquid itself can actually stain your clothing. I sprayed paper, or if you spray cardboard, it becomes translucent. Plus side to that is it lasts forever, especially on your skin. You spray this, I don't need more than 1 or 2 sprays. I sprayed this one and I can smell it over here. It fills the room. So it lasts very long. Not only does it last very long as far as performance goes on you, but the bottle lasts very long because you only need 2 sprays max, to go about your day. Now, you do need to be careful because if you're wearing a white dress shirt like I have in the past for work, and you spray it, you can stain your clothing. So if you're somebody who likes to spray your clothing, well, you got to be careful. It's not going to stain everything, but it has stained my dress shirts, and I have heard other people have issues with it. So just spray your skin, spray your neckline, your wrists. Projects fantastically. So anyway, clear winner is Royal Chariot Attar. In fact, so much so that picked up another bottle and another bottle, and I have one more bottle at work. So yeah, this wins. Yeah, I know I'm crazy, but again, like I said, this is one of my top 2 favorite of all time fragrances. So take it for what you will. They're all great. You can't go wrong with Alexandria or Dua. If you know Layton's not one of your favorite fragrances, and you're not that picky about it, I'd get genre, or maybe even Dapper. They both perform great. They smell very close to Dua or to Layton. They're just the quality's not as good, you know. But quite frankly, they're half the price. So it is what it is. But like I said, Royal Equestrian, Royal Chariot Attar, they're the top. I'd say if one is significantly cheaper, if one of them's having a better sale than the other, get either one, whichever one's cheaper. If they're the same price, and you or somebody who sprays on your skin, Dua's the winner by far. Like I said, it's going to last you a lot longer. It's going to perform a lot better.